Hey everybody, we have assembled a documentary. We went on site to Israel and we filmed at the locations where Israel was attacked on October 7th. And we went to the Kibbutzim, we went to the Nova Music Festival area, and we brought in Danny the Digger Herman to be able to narrate our way through these different areas that were attacked by Hamas. We felt this was important because the narrative has changed. And unfortunately, because of our propaganda media, they have flipped the switch and made Hamas the victims and made Israel the oppressor. And it was Israel that was attacked brutally, barbarically, and demonically. And it was just savage. And so we want to make sure that we put together a documentary to show people what truly happened on October 7th so they can understand that Israel was the victim of terrorists. And so we've assembled this. What we would like you to do is watch this and then afterwards to share this with as many people as possible because we got to get the truth out. The media is changing the narrative, demonizing Israel. The United States government is even demonizing Israel, so, along with the UN. And so we want to make sure the truth gets out and the record is set straight, that Israel was brutally, savagely attacked by terrorists on October 7th. So please share this with as many people as possible. Hey everybody, we're here close to the area of Gaza where the Kibbutzim and the Nova Music Festival was hit. And we scheduled an appointment with Danny the Digger Herman. And if you don't know him, you need to be following this guy, man. This guy will give you tremendous insight. But he's gonna take us to some of the locations that Hamas hit. This is a very sobering broadcast, but it's much needed because here's what we need to do and what we need you to do. We need you to share this. We need you to get it out, get the information out, because what you're going to see, hardly anyone in the media is going to talk about this. So Danny, tell us some of the areas that we're going to see today and the audience can expect.
Well, the Hamas attack over here on October 7th, 23, it's already almost a year ago.
Yeah, wow.
Was against 30 different locations. But the most famous one is the Nova Music Festival site. And we're definitely going to film there. I want to take you to one of the kibbutzim and show you at least through the fence some of the burnt houses and the atrocities that these kibbutz members witnessed. And the city of Sderot right there, which also faced a bloodbath, a malicious attack of the Hamas squads on these pickup trucks and the casualties of these events.
Horrible. We're going to take you through these different areas. Danny's going to do all the talking. He's going to fill us in on what happened.
This is really hard today because it's a lot of family.
Yeah.
Usually when I come here during the week, it's visitors, it's solidarity, missions and whatever. Today is a Shabbat, it's a weekend. And I can tell the difference. These are not just visitors, these are families that are using the weekend to come for a visit. Wow. So my name is Danny, but everyone calls me Danny the Digger. I'm an archaeologist by education. And I became a popular tour guide, but I never thought that I would be doing tours and presentations of war topics. But this is Israel, and we have to face reality, which includes also wars, and in this case, the biggest terrorist attack in the history of our nation. On October 6th and 7th, a music festival production team decided to make a music festival just 5 kilometers away from Gaza, and in a big open field where the music all night long will not be disturbing anyone. And realizing it's close to Gaza, they went through all the process and got all the approvals from the army. The army said, no, nothing, no threats and no problem. And they still had 40 policemen recruited, their own security team. Everything was done by the book. And everything seemed to be going well till 6:30 in the morning. on October 7th when people were dancing right here. This was the main dancing arena. The DJs were standing there behind this big sign, and everyone was having a good time with bars and drinks in the back and a little police headquarters and a few ambulances in the back, mostly prepared for a scenario of people drinking too much or smoking something. But then the sirens started going on in the area. This is an open field. There are no bomb shelters, no sirens. I mean, now you have them, but not on that day.
Right.
But then they started seeing the rockets and the Iron Dome interceptions above their heads. People thought at first this is part of the party, it's the fireworks.
Oh.
But some people, and I'm mostly relying on a testimony of a friend of mine, a colleague, he's also related, we're also related, his name is Amit Musai. He's a tour guide that was in the party. And he said, I saw the interception and I told people, these are not fireworks. These are rockets. Let's get out of here. And it took the head of the security a while to go up to the stage and shut the music down and tell everyone to clear. But many people didn't believe it at first. And a big technical problem is the map is showing the road is over here. This is the dancing area where we are now, but the cars were all parked in the woods. So in order to get to the road, they had to take the southern exit, middle exit, or a northern exit. And these exits proved to be clogged very quickly by Hamas, getting hold of the roads and just shooting at the cars or firing at them and clogging the exits. Moreover, those who did manage to escape in time just used the highway to head north, and many of them were killed on the road about 10 kilometers away from here. The Hamas was waiting for anyone on the roads, mostly for military reinforcement that was going to go to the kibbutzim, but anyone on the road was targeted by them. Also those who escaped towards the south, which is towards the Egyptian border. But they were also waiting there with specific vehicles and machine guns, and then also light infantry with AK-47 against what? Against civilians, people that are just coming out of a party. And eventually the Hamas realized the volume of people that are stuck here, and they had communication. They had, I just got this information, they had pretty well operated communication, not just some walkie-talkie you order online. And they called many more people to say, look, there are a lot of people here that don't have where to hide. And it became a bloodbath. 260 people were murdered in this area. Another 105 of the people partying here were murdered on their escape. And 43 were kidnapped, of which only a few were released, because the main release in November were children and elders, not the age group of the people that were partying here.
How many people total at the festival?
We don't know exactly, but the numbers that I read were between 3,500 to 4,400. So I say 4,000. You have to understand, it's not like a show with a ticket.
Right.
There were people showing up, there were certain people joining in through the night. But let's say the assessment average give the number of 4,000 participants, which means, by the way, that 90% survived. 90% managed to get away. But because it's such a big number, the total numbers, 400 people either killed or kidnapped in one morning. It's horrendous. It's horrible.
It's
people that just came to an open-air music festival, nothing more. It's not people in military or anything like that. It's a horrendous terrorist attack. Now, today you have memorials of the people that were murdered or kidnapped. Each sign is marking two different figures. I've done a lot of studies to the best of my ability for each and one of those stories. So here, Gidi Chiel was murdered with his sister. There were also eight couples of siblings, brothers and brothers or brother and sister. But this is just one of them. And Each one of them is a whole life. And again, this is a Shabbat, so a lot of the people here are not just visitors, but actually
Family members.
family members, yes, which is very hard for me to see and recognize. Okay, these bomb shelters weren't here. These were placed later together with the sirens. So now when visitors come here, if there's a rocket threat, there's where to escape. But on that day, there was no place to run to. Just an open wood, and a lot of tents were camping here. Now you can see monuments, but they're all monuments made by the families. Nothing here is really properly set by the government, at least not yet. There will be probably a big monument. And I want to take you to the service area where the ambulances were set. One of the worst tragedies is the story of the ambulance. An ambulance was found here on its side, completely burnt. One can still see the oxygen tank here, leaning against a tree, and wreckage of the back of the ambulance. The ambulance itself, by the way, is on display today, where all the burnt cars are on display. But when it was found here, they found in it the traces of 12 bodies. And I say traces because everything was burnt. They found ashes. And only a careful examination of the remains indicated that they are body parts, and the DNA test managed to identify who they are. 12 remains were found inside and 6 under, meaning when it collapsed, when it blasted, it fell on its side, killing 6 more people, including Arik and Ruth Peretz, a father and a very invalid girl that was mobilized only in a wheelchair. And she apparently hid behind the ambulance, and this is how they found their death. And one famous story is Shani Gabay, who the parents knew that she escaped into an ambulance because she was wounded before, but they just couldn't find any traces of her, and the DNA test also resulted with nothing. But about 2 months later, they found a bracelet of her nearby. And so they insisted, let's check again all of the people that were already identified. And in the second examination, they found a few body parts that were indeed identified as Shani's remains. And we happened to be here. I come here many times, but this is her family. These are her parents and their friends. And last time I was here, the family of Matan Al-Malem was here. He was a DJ. He performed here. Karin Giorno was also burnt to death. As far as I know, only 3 teeth of her were clearly identified. And it's just so hard to follow and review and then tell these stories, because they're all stories of death, of horrible, insane death by a bunch of barbarians, a bunch of rapist rats. I have no other definition for such people and their acts. This could be family. We are next to a bomb shelter of Kibbutz Be'eri. 16 young people were murdered here, all escaping from the Nova Music Festival. And we happened to come here when one of the survivors came for a visit. איך קוראים לך, אחי?
גון.
איך?
גון.
דון?
גון עם גימל.
גון?
כן.
גון מה?
שקד.
גון שקד.
הוא אמר שאין לו בעיה, גם בגלל שהוא מוצב, שהאחותו תתרגם אותו.
בעיה. אני יכול לתרגם.
הוא יכול לדבר.
He happened to be here. So we happened to be here when one of the people who survived the Nova is coming for a visit. I saw him coming out in tears because 2 of his friends died here inside. His name is gone, and he miraculously managed to escape on the road. So many others were ambushed to death, but he actually made it. And this is his first time visiting this site 8 months later. You can see that he's kind of overwhelmed. Let's just quietly film this inside.
Unbelievable.
You are Gon's mother?
Yes.
Where are you from?
We're from the center. 40 people were sitting here.
And you can still see the marks on the walls here.
Although they painted everything, but you can see everything here is bombed. And here it says, here sat Be'eri.
And she survived.
She survived because she was here on the bottom under all the bodies.
Yeah.
But
But 16, I know that 16 people were murdered.
just imagine how can 16 people get into here and more survivors as well. And 8 British that are thrown inside here.
Uncomprehendable.
You have to see it to believe.
Even when you see it, you don't believe. No, even when you see it, you still don't.
Just think that 10% of the people that came to dance were murdered.
Yes, murdered or kidnapped, yes.
Kidnapped, murdered, butchered, raped. It's unhuman. You can't believe that people can get to this point, and you understand that you have wanted to peace with because they want to slaughter you. Thank you for supporting us.
Thank you.
We're not just supporting you, we're praying for you.
Amen. So up to October 7th, 23, this building that you're seeing now was the police station of the city of Sderot, which is less than a mile away from the border of Gaza. On that morning, not only the city was attacked by many rockets, but a few Hamas squads entered the city and got a hold of the building, and it led to a 20-hour battle in which we had to bring a tank to fire at the building to get rid of the last terrorist. And so today, what can you see of this structure? This is it, people. Just the scaffolding remains of the foundations. The whole building was torn down in that battle. At first they said that they will rebuild the police station, but then they decided to turn this into a monument, a big memorial for the Battle of Sderot, not just of the police station, but over all of the places where the Hamas killed the residents of the city. A total of 82 civilians, security forces, and policemen died in those clashes, and this will be the main monument. I personally believe that the Hamas' original intention was to get a hold of the police station and put a Hamas flag on top of it. That's like for you guys to have an ISIS force getting into a police station in your town in Texas or in California and putting an ISIS flag on top of it. Can you believe that? That was their plan. And they did get a hold of the building, killing some of the policemen, but they never got to the rooftop. And then in the retaliation of our forces, we ended up bringing a tank when we realized that there are no more living policemen inside. It's just the terrorists, just the bad guys. We decided just to demolish the building. So this is a painting showing the reality that took place here on the 7th and into the 8th of October. It was a 20-hour battle that ended with killing all the terrorists here, but a terrible death toll of 35 men, women, civilians, and policemen that died here alone, and a total of 82 people of this town that died in this terrorist attack. 8 months later, there isn't much that can be shown of the battle anymore. The whole building was torn down. It will be replaced with a big monument. But look at the top part of that building. Apparently, some civilian was trying to take videos of the battle, and the Hamas didn't like it, so they tried shooting at him, and one can still see the bullet holes in the walls next to the window. Okay, we are next to Kibbutz Be'eri. The border with Gaza is just 4 kilometers away. This military Hummer reconnaissance are coming out of Gaza. Okay, there is a section inside Gaza Strip which we are controlling to split the central southern part from the northern area. On October 7th, loads of terrorists came through the fences and attacked the kibbutz. This fence might be efficient against theft, but not against an RPG. They easily broke in. It's like the Holocaust. This is not going to happen again. We will make sure, and if it means permanent stay in Gaza, to make sure these rapist rats never have the capability again of doing something even close to this, then we will go and invest and do all the infrastructure and fight till victory. What you're seeing here will not happen again. We will make sure of that. Okay, so we are at another special sad place relating to October 7th events. This is the parking lot where all the cars that were burnt and damaged beyond repair. There's over 1,600 cars that are piled up here, and at the very western end of them, they placed the Hamas, the terrorist pickup trucks and motorcycles. You can see that most of the time they were using these white Toyota pickup trucks. But if you go to a certain vantage point, you can also see the motorcycles. It turned out that the Hamas was importing, or smuggling is a better term, hundreds of cheap motorcycles from China, 200cc motorcycles. How much damage can they do? Well, apparently when you use hundreds of them, they're much faster than running, and it turns out that they can also carry kidnapped people, or the bodies of kidnapped people as the Go cameras, the body cameras of many of the Hamas terrorists documented. They were actually proud of this. They were proud of raping and killing and kidnapping, and were broadcasting all of these atrocities, and now they deny it. This is the biggest terrorist attack in the history of our nation.
Good point.
And it's not just the numbers, it's the violence and the brutality and the raping, the beheading, the burning. What kind of barbarians do this?
It's unbelievable.
Yes.
Well, here's what you guys got to do. We need you to share this with people, to get the true story out of how brutal this was and why Israel has to eliminate Hamas, has to do the deal, and stop the existential threat that these terrorist groups are posing to Israel. As you can see, that was a very sobering video, but it needs to get out. We need to get that information out to counteract the lies that are out there about Israel. And so how do you counteract lies? You counteract it with the truth. The truth will set you free. So we're asking you to share this with as many people as possible. And we also want you to understand what battle we're in. This is a spiritual battle. It's a satanic attack on Israel. It wasn't just humans. It was demonically controlled. There's no doubt about it. And obviously we're in a spiritual battle. So we want you to engage in this spiritual battle by getting the truth out, and that's how you can fight this battle. We also ask this, that if the Lord puts it on your heart to help us financially, we would appreciate it. It takes a lot to produce something like this and to film this on location and to incorporate a lot of moving parts of B-roll and different things and the production value that goes into something like that. If the Lord puts it on your heart to help us, that would be great. Also, if the Lord puts it on your heart to help Israel, you can help Israel through us. Go to rockharborchurch.net, go to our giving tab, and go to the Bless Israel, and you can help Israel. We help Israel in many ways of providing protective gear, drones, helmets, bulletproof vests, and different things to protect the Israeli soldiers, medical supplies. We even help the Israeli families that are suffering, so you can help that way. But again, you can have a twofold thing. Don't forget the organization, Rock Harbor Church, that's helping Israel. So help us as you help Israel, okay? Well, God bless you, and get this truth out.